Capricorn, today you are blessed by the moon. You may enjoy your family and professional life. You may become polite with the people around you, which may help in the smooth completion of your work. Aquarius, today you are blessed by a positive moon. You may enjoy at work. You may get rewards after your hard work. Your social respect may be increased now. Pisces, today you are blessed by a positive moon. You may be satisfied at work. You may plan for a short work-related trip. You may also visit some religious places to maintain your inner peace. And that was your daily horoscope on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio, courtesy Jyoti Puja Store of Southern Main Road in Chase Village.
Jyoti's Puja Store is your one-stop puja store for all puja, wedding and cremation materials. Also available books, mithai and murtis made to order. Visit Jyoti's Puja Store today and be greeted with the kindest and most courteous staff with best prices and secured parking. Jyoti's Puja Store located at 542 Southern Main Road, Chase Village, Shiguanas. Contact 671-3849.
Puzzle lovers, rejoice! Your free 24-page Newsday puzzle book is now available twice a week, only in your Trinidad and Tobago Newsday. Now you really can look forward to staying home. Newsday, independent and credible.
Yes, indeed, and thank you very much for staying with us here at 97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper. Let's thank Nicole Duki this morning for sharing today's horoscope with us. And also welcome on board this morning Jyoti's Puja Store. For all your puja items, you can visit Jyoti's today. They are located at the Triangle in Shogunas. Good morning, people. Good morning, and thank you very much for choosing 975 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio as your radio of choice. Well, today it's a Friday, July 3rd, 2020. And at this time, we'll bring you up to speed as to what are some of the major stories as published in today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Remember, you can go outside there and purchase your copy of this publication. It is priced at only $3, and it's available at all leading newsstands throughout Trinidad and Tobago. But before we get into the meat of today's publication, let me say a very special good morning to our online listeners this morning. Good morning and welcome to today's edition of the morning program. Good morning to all of our neighbors here at Exchange Lots in Couva. Good morning and welcome to today's program. You are in the company with yours truly, Kenrick Jargonaut and Nicole Duki, and we will be taking you until the hour of 9 this morning as we look at some of the issues of the day, the challenges facing us here in Trinidad and Tobago, and yes, also give you, our ardent listening audience, an opportunity to share your thoughts and to share your views with us. Well, let me say a very special good morning to Nicole this morning. Good morning, Nicole. Good job indeed.
Good morning, Kenrick.
And presenting today's horoscope for
Thank
us.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Anyway, let's take a look now at what's happening in today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Dr. Keith Rowley forms a fact-finding team after protests. We hear you. PM consoles families of those killed. Not about race, religion, place. Seek justice, not revenge. That's the front cover of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper.
Okay, so The Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, appointed a new committee to examine and establish the causes of disquiet and dissatisfaction among disenfranchised communities throughout the country.
All right, its aim will be to find a solution to the systemic socio-economic challenges faced by people living there and end them once and for all. The details you can catch on page 3 of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Jamal Shabazz
is one of the members of the committee.
Yeah. Community will come first. Jamal Shabazz, a hard-working member of the Morva Laventille community, former Trinidad and Tobago football coach. We would have worked together many years ago.
Was he a former member of the Jamaat al-Muslimin?
Yes, he was also a former member of the Jamaat al-Muslimin. Yes. Yeah, nice one, Nicole. Remind us of that. Yes. So Jamal Shabazz is one of the members of that committee. Let me just share with you who are some of the other members of the committee. Curtis Toussaint, Culture Minister Dr. Nyan Godspeed Dolly, social entrepreneur Akusa Edwards, and community activist Nicola Harvey. They are all part of that committee.
And they'll be led by Anthony Watkins.
Watkins, he's a psychologist, yes? Yeah. So that announcement was made by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley yesterday. As I said, you can get the details on page 3 of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. The Police Complaints Authority waiting 8 years for more power. Well, the PCA head, David West, he is saying this morning in the Newsday, they have been calling for more resources for the longest while.
Right.
And Dr. Keith Rowley, in his pronouncement yesterday,
he said that they will be given the resources that they need.
He said that the Police Complaints Authority should expedite the investigation into those young men who would have been killed over the weekend. So that story is on page 5 of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Go outside there and purchase your copy this morning. Fuad Abu Bakr granted $75,000 bail, Nicole. Leader of the new National Vision political party, Fuad Abu Bakr, has been granted bail in the sum of $75,000 to cover 6 charges arising out of Tuesday's protests and earlier Black Lives Matter protests at the Queen's Park Savannah in Porto, Spain. So $75,000 in bail. The details on page 7 of today's edition of the Newsday newspaper.
Well, the former Port of Spain mayor, Louis Lee Singh, has cautioned that the joining together of rival gangs for Tuesday's protest action against the police was not good for TNT.
He said there's a quiet calm now. But in the Newsday, that's what he's saying in the Newsday. There's a quiet calm now. But if this matter is not addressed in a particular way, well, we can expect more and more similar riots and protests in the coming days and in the coming weeks. Opposition leader on a new committee, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, the Prime Minister trying to mamagai Trinidad and Tobago. That's her response, just after Dr. Keith Rowley would have made his pronouncement.
Made that statement, right?
She said he has always been a coward and a bully. He is like a 70-year-old child trying to get sympathy and act like victim number 1 in Trinidad and Tobago. Some very strong thoughts there coming from Kamla Persad-Bissessar, opposition leader.
Okay, so we're saying that the autopsy of the 31-year-old Bita woman who was shot during the confrontation with police on Tuesday has been postponed to today. No reason was given why the body was not taken to the Forensic Science Center on Thursday.
All right. The movement for social justice on protests. That story is on page 11. People want their cries to be heard. According to David Abdullah, he said, or rather, he believes Trinidad and Tobago is a broken country filled with people who are continually marginalized and discriminated and experience injustice at all levels. As I said, those details are on page 11. You can catch it in today's edition of the Newsday newspaper.
The Prime Minister said the police must do all in their power to win the public's trust as they seek to maintain law and order. This is one of the statements that he made yesterday at the media conference. So you can check it out as well in today's copy of the Newsday. All
right, on the editorial page, you can get the views of a number of people whose letters are published in today's edition of the Newsday. One letter written by one Dr. Kirk Meghu on parliamentary language by Prime Minister. Statutes are now obsolete. Those are just some of the stories, or rather letters published in today's edition of the Newsday newspaper. Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith to protesters: don't try to pressure me. This sheriff not riding out.
Very interesting one here, Kenrick. Desperate to get his taxi badge, a man bought a $500 used typewriter and donated it to the licensing office.
I saw this story this morning and it brought a smile to my face. Man buys licensing office a typewriter to get a taxi badge. Let me just share a paragraph with you. Desperate to get his taxi badge, a man bought a $500 used typewriter and donated to the licensing office. When the matter was raised with Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Sananan, he said he was not aware of the incident or of any request for a typewriter.
Right.
Nicole, this is 2020, you know. Typewriter. Anyway, folks, it's just about 25 minutes there past the hour of 6 o'clock. And note that time check came to you through the kind courtesy of Rajendra Rampasad, who is the PNM candidate for the Couva South constituency. Note also too that you can catch us on YouTube. Yes, we are live on YouTube at RCL U975, and you can also log on to us at 975radio.com.
And you can also visit our Facebook pages where we'll be updating you on everything that's happening in the world of news, current affairs, everything you need to know on our Facebook page at U97.5.
Yes, so stay with us here, 975 FM Hot Like Pepper. Don't tune your dial. We'll keep you thoroughly informed as to all of the developments taking place in the country. Stay with us here, 975. Let's go to some commercials.
Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited, number 86 Pearville, opposite the TSTT Exchange in Mayaro. We specialize in all types of meats, dry goods, liqueur, beverages, ice, LPG, gas, motor oils, stationery supplies, and photocopying. We also provide rentals of tents and chairs for your every occasion. Come in and take advantage of our specials at reduced prices on liqueur, wholesale and retail. We are open every day, even on public holidays, for your convenience. TT Post services are available here at Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited of number 86 Pearville, Mayaro, where our friendly staff will be happy to serve you.
Hurry to 3C2 Rentals, number 77 Bonaventure Road, Gasparillo, for your business and personal tool and rental needs. Available for rent: coring machines, compactors, concrete vibrators, demolition hammers, drills, saws, scarifiers, pressure washers, generators, welding units, trash pumps, hydrostatic test pumps, and so much more. We offer free transport in and around Gasparillo and at very competitive prices. Visit or call us at 650-2362 or 789-4581 for more information.
A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited of 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo for all your hardware materials from foundation to finish. Not forgetting all your general contracting needs. We have it all at A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited, located at 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call Tiki Ali at 650-2180.
A&S Hardware are wholesalers and retailers of plywood, an assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section, and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
Hi, my name is Nicole Dookie, and I am inviting you to join me alongside Kenrick Jaggernaut on U-Talk, Mondays to Fridays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. We will be bringing you all the information you need to know in the world of news and current affairs. You are also invited to add your voice, so call us live and let's get interactive.
Only the people can save the people. This is the mantra of the National Solidarity Assembly. Join its political leader and president of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, Nirvan Maharaj, as he invites you to join these organizations and other top executives on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper for 2 one-hour monthly features as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of this country, tackling the issues, generating bold talk, finding solutions, bringing the workers' agenda to the front burner, and providing a new vehicle. That's the NSA's mission. Be part of this informative panel discussion with operatives from the NSA. Only happening here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper.
And yes, note that you can join Mr. Nirvan Maharaj just around 7:30 as they continue to build capacity. And you can take in that interview just around 7:30. Yes, it's a weekly feature as produced by the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. Good morning, people. Good morning, and thank you very much for being with us here this morning. We have a number of issues which I want to touch base with you, and I'm hoping that you can share your thoughts with us this morning. But Nicole, we have a caller here on the line already. Hello, good morning. All right, we are so sorry to miss your call. Anyway, in the first part of this morning's program, I want to deal in particular with this committee set up by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. Okay, let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken and Nicole.
Good morning.
Yeah, this thing, this protest stuff that happened over the past 2 days or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Ken, was aired on Al Jazeera yesterday news.
Yeah.
All over Southeast Asia. In fact, somebody called me from Australia and told me it was on the Al Jazeera news, and I got a little thing. So I hope, that things settle down a lot, because that is, very bad PR for us as a nation. Secondly, this thing, also we have this thing making rounds on the news that in New Zealand 2 English people broke the quarantine and over 300 and something people were infected. That is not true, right?
Well, I think the Minister of Health would have pronounced that sometime back, at least about a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are saying that's the information shared. It's incorrect.
All right, it is incorrect, and there was a cluster of about 5 or 6 people, and that was actually taken care of. In fact, New Zealand has had no cases over the past week.
All right. Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, Nicole and Mookie.
Good morning.
Kendrick.
Good morning, dear.
You know that committee the Prime Minister set up, that is really called a campaign committee. They are going to walk through Laventille, beat them.
It's laughable.
With their bags in hand and hampers in hand and money in hand.
It's laughable.
And you know something? Those communities will never be impacted. Never. You know what they're doing? They are making the hopeless more helpless.
And hold on. Here it is. You have a Prime Minister who would have been a member of the People's National Movement and would have been in Parliament for the past 30, 35 years or so.
His whole life, he's a career politician.
And you are now telling me that you are going to get what you call a fact-finding mission to find out exactly what are the causes of all of these problems in these depressed communities.
You don't even have to go that way, Kendrick. He just has to ask Marlene McDonald. He just has to call on you and say, Marlene, tell me what's going on. Marlene is in the middle of this whole thing.
Yes.
You know something? We have to stop playing these stupid games and wasting money. There are people who don't have water in this country. There are people who have no jobs. There are children who are growing up homeless, fatherless, and motherless. And he's sending a committee to figure out what's going on. Yeah, let me tell you something, This whole thing is between the government, the police, and those gangs. And you know what the gangsters said? The MPs are next. And let me tell you something. They're frightened. They trembling because we know that politicians and gangs go hand in hand, especially when it comes to procurement contracts. And you know something? It will unfold, but I tell you something else too, what they did to Fuad Abu Bakr, that is going to be a payback coming back. You don't do that to that man's son. You don't drag him into jail, charge him $75,000. That man didn't do anything wrong. He just said, let us protest, peace and justice. And they arrested him. You read between the lines, and the senior Abu Bakr got on the radio and he said, I've never seen this before. 85% of the police killing are force, abuse of power.
Yes.
You know, and you're speaking up and now you're going after the man, son. The politicians playing with fire, and let me tell you, it will big time backfire on them. And Ms. Fasad Bissessa was right about our Prime Minister. He is very trite, he's very childish, and he's playing the wrong kind of games.
Well, thank you very much. And you're so correct. And this is my opinion. I listened to the entire pronouncement coming from Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley yesterday. To me, Opposition Leader Kamla Prasad Bissessa, I do not agree with her on most things, but I agree on her comments. The man was actually trying to look for sympathy, casting the blame game again, going back to 2004, blaming the past administration and so on. Hello, since the 1960s, the People's National Movement would have represented in the greater part those constituencies that are having these problems today.
That's right.
So what's the point in forming this new fact-finding team? It's called Community Recovery Program. To me, it's just another measure, another way of trying to give these communities what you call handout dependency syndrome. Let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, Kenneth.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning.
Well, boy, I don't care what committee Christopher Keith Rowley put there. What I care about is putting Jamal, because I know where Jamal comes from. And I know in the 1990 coup, Jamal was one of the persons who gives them ammunition to go on to Parliament. I know all them things. So that is the first mistake Christopher Keith Rowley made, to put Jamal on that, because he is an insurrection with the 1990 coup. Then after, they come back, and I feel that when people do wrong in this country, I feel that they're always right. The law-abiding citizens always have a problem in getting what they have to get, but they see when you do wrong, you get everything. The police pushing back the gangsters, but people still saying the gangsters go do this and that. So you don't want the police to shoot them. They must send threats. In fact, there are people not suffering, Kendrick. There are people tell you they have guns, they have a generic knife, they have this, they have that, and they will kill all the police, and there are people suffering. When they get money to buy all this gun and generic knife and all them things, that is the first thing you have to ask. So they're not surprised. But my problem with that committee is Shabazz.
No.
That is my problem. And still.
All right, we thank you very much. Nicole, I'm editorializing here this
Yes.
morning, and I ought not to do that. In my humble opinion, this is just pure theatric.
Yes.
This is just pure window dressing to appease to a disgruntled group of people.
Yes.
People who feel disenfranchised. It's just an attempt to buy time ahead of the local government.
General
the
elections.
general election.
Yes.
It is an attempt
It's
to
also,
buy time.
It's also a waste of taxpayers' dollars, because you're going to have to pay these people to work on this committee.
More than that too. Anytime this administration is faced by a serious challenge, Dr. Rowley forms a committee. Remember this roadmap
Yes.
recovery team?
Yes.
Yesterday you read
Yes.
excerpts from that. What has happened to that report? What has happened to that report? Have we seen anything of substance to benefit the people of Trinidad and Tobago? Let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, Kenrick. Good morning, Mr. T. Good morning, Trinidad.
Larry, I thought you would have been part of that committee, boy. Yeah, because you work pretty hard in your community. Your community too have challenges. David Pinal have poor people. You have challenges there. You have young people who need opportunities.
Our biggest challenge in our community here in David Penal, Kenrick, as you will know, is flooding issues.
And hold on, before I forget, the Prime Minister actually was issuing badge on talk yesterday, you know. You know what he said? People can criticize, people can say what the bloody hell they want about this committee. He is not budging. He is not budging. He is prepared.
It has nothing to do with race.
Yeah, he is not. He is not prepared to listen to anybody, despite all of the old talk, all of the criticism. He is not prepared to listen. He is moving full speed ahead to ensure that these communities get the necessary help which they deserve. Go ahead.
Well, Kenrick, I get up this morning. Since last night we have no water in our taps. I took a day off today because I have some different things to take care of. I'm not going on the road today because of this protest. I listened to a soundbite on Facebook about a gentleman who is making some serious threats to police officers, the commissioner of police, and he's saying that he's going to bust a mark about politicians, how much they were paid to do certain things. Now, Kenrick, I also understand that a lot of radio talk show hosts are being threatened right now. So, because when they start, no, listen, this is a serious thing.
Yeah.
When you start to ill talk, the people are doing the protest right now. They are coming down and threatening radio talk show hosts. Secondly, members of the Guardian Media Group, they cannot even write any ills about this protest right now because they will be targeted. So you see, Kenrick, the Commissioner of Police, I would like him to shut his mouth, and I wanted to do what he has to do. Do not tell the public what it is you're going to do. Do what you have to do, because anytime you open your mouth, you are giving out pieces of your secret that they have an upper hand on you. And it is very, very frightening and worrying. We are in a bad mess. This country is in a real situation that, you know, according to your first caller, the international world is watching this thing and observing. And at this particular time, Trinidad is not a safe place, because this riot, this protest, Kenrick, as far as I see, it is not going to stop right now. It is going down the road, and it's going to be a long haul. Everybody forget this coronavirus. Yeah. They forget it clean enough, Kenrick, and they're down on this. What? No justice, no peace. Here we're going on. I, for one, as an individual, I will keep my tail at home because my life matter. My life matter. But Kenrick, you all, I am begging you all, be very, 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 very careful, because they attack a certain radio host day before yesterday, and they are planning to attack more. Anytime you ill speak about this protest and you ill speak about gang members, they're sending the troops out for you.
All right, well, I hear you, Larry, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the concern, Larry.
And giving us the heads up. No, but I call it as I see it.
Yes.
Look, these communities are described as depressed communities and hotspots and so on. And I would have said on many occasions, some of these youths are misguided. Some of these youths are ill-informed. They come from what you call broken homes.
That's right.
And broken homes, the environment in which you grew up in, tends to shape and mold your characteristics.
Who you are. That's right.
And here it is, Dr. Rowley and his administration is confronted with this headache. Rather than look at ways and means of helping these people, you now going into a fact-finding mission. How hypocritical is that?
The facts are there, though.
Since the 1960s, the People's National Movement have been in charge of this country, minus, of course, two or other administration. And you are telling me that you are not aware of what are the problems, what are these people are crying out for? You now setting up a community recovery program to do what? For more handout. And I go back again to the utterances coming from one Clive Dutton, who said more social programs are needed. More social programs are needed.
How many more do you need?
The authorities of the day, Nicole, need to bite the bullet.
Yes.
Take decisive action.
That's
As
right.
I said, who vex loss. This is just an attempt to mamagai, to procrastinate ahead of the general election of 2020, to appease to this these communities, to appease to them, to say, hold on, something is coming.
Yes.
We are here to help. We have set up a committee to find out exactly what is it you people want, and we will deliver. We will deliver. That's according to Dr. Keith Rowley. He said nothing new yesterday, you know, and my good friend Brian Big was totally correct. He said Dr. Rowley will go back again, revisit, and blame the opposition, blame Kamala Prasad Bisesa for all of the ills facing East Port of Spain. Come on, we need to take the blinkers out of our eyes, you know. Let's take this caller on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Duki.
Good morning.
And good morning, Mr. Kenneth.
And good morning, sir.
So therefore, after listening to your argument this morning, what would you like the Prime Minister to do? Because we are saying no handouts. And we're saying the Recovery Committee doesn't make sense. So then you tell me what you think should be done to help. Because you are also saying, help them. These people need help. So in what means, in what manner, which or how should you help these people?
All right, let me tell you. First of all, decisive action should have been taken.
But you have the member of parliament in these areas, these members of parliament in these areas. Some of them have been representing for as long as we could remember. They should know what these communities need and what they are lacking. So why do we have to have a new committee to go through this entire process again? It's a waste of taxpayers' money.
Let me tell you how you can help these people. You can build swimming pool in every community. You can set up community centers in every community. That is how you can help them. That is what you can do. Listen to me. Building swimming pool,
and community
setting up
centers,
sporting complex and so on will not help these people, You have to ensure that the avenues are available for them to empower themselves, that they get into there. The young people, they need to be empowered. You are telling me you're not going to find out what these people need? Come on, partner. Be real. Be real. Anyway, Nicole, we need to take a commercial break at this time. It's just about 15 minutes here to the hour of 7 o'clock. And that time check came to you through the kind courtesy of Rajendra Rampasad, who is the People's National Movement candidate for the Couva South constituency. Stay with us here, 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper.
On the road again with U975 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio. Yes, we're back with our road shows. Be part of the U975 FM bandwagon as we bring you live broadcasts from locations throughout the country. Come enjoy our company with music, entertainment, and lots of giveaways. Stay with the U975 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio for greater programming as we hit the road again.
Davidson Safety Garments for all your industrial safety supplies. We supply a wide range of industrial needs such as face masks, coveralls, shirts and pants, jackets, aprons, lab coats, fire-resistant clothing, steel-toe boots, and we also do embroidery and printing. Visit Davidson Safety Garments Industrial Supplies Limited at number 163 Southern Main Road, Marabella, or call us at 289-0506, 289-0507, 289-0508, or WhatsApp us at 773-3863. Our fax number is 653-9271, or you can email us at sales@davidsonsafetygarments.com. Whatever your safety needs, we can supply.
I have journeyed.
Greeted in the wonderful name of Jesus. My name is Bishop Kelvin Khan from Endurance Ministry International. Our new location is in Railway Road, Londonville. You can tune into 97.5 every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. till 8. Tell your nanny and your nana, Jesus is the answer.
Yes, remember you can join Pastor Kelvin Khan tomorrow and his entourage right here at 975 FM Hot Like Pepper. You're with the morning program as we move up to the hour of 7 o'clock. That's about 13 minutes here to the hour of 7. Time check, courtesy Rajendra Rampasad, the People's National Movement candidate for Couva South. We have some callers here on the line. Nicole. Hello, good morning and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, Kenrick.
And good morning to you, my friend. Well, certainly you have a mouthful for me this morning.
And morning, Miss Dookie.
Good morning.
Yet another Dookie. That's your mother?
No relation.
The one in the afternoon.
No relation. No relation.
Right. No, and Dookie is there in the afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Kenrick, this is Pontius Pilate politics that Keith Rowley is playing. Whenever something comes up in the country, you set up a committee and pass the buck.
Yeah,
Wash
true.
your hand from it.
Yeah.
And anytime anybody asks anything about it, you make a comment, you say, well, we have set up a committee. So the government has exonerated themselves in a way for what's taking place, you know. You remember the one on the wharf, on the port? He set up a committee there, a one-man committee. We don't know what the report, we never saw that report yet. As you just mentioned, the one with the after COVID, you set up a 22-man committee. You set up another committee. And as you quite rightly said, and I said that yesterday also, Ms. Duki just said that, what are the MPs doing? You represent a constituency for 12 years and you don't know what the problems are.
And that is so true.
You know them.
Because even yesterday we called out Fitzgerald Hines. Called out Fitzgerald Hines.
You were there for 12, 15 years like Marlene McDonald.
Yes.
And you haven't gone through your constituency and to talk to the people and find out what the problems are, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's you haven't set up an unemployment register in your constituency office.
No,
but they're just hiding behind these committees. That is what Dr. Rowley is doing.
So do you agree with me that Dr. Rowley is just buying time ahead of the 2020 general election?
Absolutely. You see, you don't want to anger nobody. You know, if it was about 2 years into the term, he'd have cussed them.
Yeah.
You understand? He'd have blamed them, he'd have send the police after them, but he know the election coming and he won their vote.
That's why his response came so late in the game, right? 2 days later, he has to think properly before he
And he's not going to get them nothing. This committee is just going to sit up there, more talk, and by that time election come, and after the election, if he wins the election, to hell with them. That is how he's going to operate. So he's not fooling nobody with that. I call it Pontius Pilate politics.
I describe it as buying time. Buying time.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
All right, thank you very much. No, what can people like Hans Devanes, Jamal Shabazz, Curtis Toussaint, Dr. Nyan Gatsby-Dolly, who's the minister, and Nicola Harvey say to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago? What can they find out? What this committee is hoping to achieve? Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, good people.
Good morning, Bawani. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. I am fine, thank you.
But as a social worker yourself, I thought you would have been part of this committee, boy.
Behave yourself now, I ain't living longer.
Anyway, keep your fingers crossed. The Prime Minister said that, more people could be added to the committee.
Yes. No, well, they wouldn't take me from Central.
So why? Central don't have depressed places?
He said this is not about race or religion, so you might just get through.
Only the East-West corridor have depressed.
He said this has nothing to do with geography. Yeah, nice word, Geography.
Geography.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the man say he brings something in 2004,
2004, yeah.
Which people objected to, including people of his own party. Right? And he called Weed Mark name. He say, Live Sport spend some more money and all we get is criminals. He say he introduced a project in 2015 when he started in 2016. What that bring?
But who is to say that program which he would have referred to in 2004 would have given him the necessary results which he so required?
Well, that is the man's belief. But what is admiring about it is that why in 2015, the same program that they tried to push in 2004, knowing the problem or claiming to know the problem then.
No, this problem in East Port of Spain did not start in 2015, 2010.
We know that.
Or the 1990s, Before that,
We know that, and that is a big sore.
Yeah.
Right, but my thing is that if you so believed in yourself and believe whatever was proposing in 2004 could have worked, when you become Prime Minister, that is one of the initiatives we should have taken in 2015 instead of put a little program there and it backfire on you now. Because you can't say the program succeed. You understand? Because the same people who you put the program for, they revolting. But you don't want to go and say nothing because you want to play the stroke with gentle hands. Understand? So let me see what will come out of this committee. Jamal Shabazz, who make a lot of noise over the last 2 days in the media, get plenty cost for it as a member of the committee. And maybe rightly so because he's supposed to be living there. Right? Marlene McDonald and Fitzgerald Hines, who have been parliamentary representatives for donkey years, have no solutions because they made no effort to solve the problems, even though they served the community for so many years.
And what about Fitzy?
Well, that was Marlene and Fitzgerald. I call his name.
Okay.
I call his name. I might be a good English person this morning. And now I see Keith Scotland getting out.
Yes.
I won't
Port of Spain South.
I won't mention to you, my friend, my thoughts on that selection. I mentioned it to Nicole this morning off air.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. And then we see Fitzgerald, who has been a failure, being returned because he like a puppet on a string. You understand? Well, let me see what this committee will come up with. But as I said on different forums, the biggest problem is that generally our education system is failing people.
All right. I can tell you what this committee will come up with. The committee will come up with people lamenting that they need a job, they need housing, they need proper infrastructure. And I told Nicole yesterday, everybody in this country want to work.
Everybody wants.
Yeah, but are you employable? Are you prepared to do the hard work? You see, we have become what you call a dependency syndrome people, especially in some communities, where we depend on the state to provide us with everything. We throw all values out of the window. We have no respect for law. We have no respect for authority. We have no respect for our environment. We have no respect even for our own parents. We have no respect. First of all, you need to look at the proper value system, family life. You have to encourage family life. This is what the committee will come up with. How are you going to address that? How are you going to... You cannot employ everybody into the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service or into the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard, the Defense Force, or what have you. You need to empower yourselves. Let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, good morning, friend.
You see, you speak from a person looking in, and you tend to disagree with my views. Well, I'm a person who live in the community and grow up in the same community and have the same experience that all these people have.
All right, well,
let me point out to you, 1 minute please. Let me point out to you what was one of our failures in our community. What came into the African community and spoiled the movement of the African community to start. Forget ganja. Forget alcohol. You see, cocaine came into my community and destroyed my community. The most homeless people in town smoking cocaine is African people. The most people pushing cocaine in town is African people. And it didn't come from the African community.
All right, let me ask you a question this morning. Getting involved in drugs, it's a matter of choice, yes?
It is.
Right. It's a matter of upbringing, yes?
To a point.
No, don't put
no, because I was raised in it and I was raised around it and I didn't.
Well, no, I'm posing a question to you. It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of your upbringing. It's a matter of values. It's a matter of proper guidance. Yes?
Individual choice.
Yeah. No,
yes.
Well, I'm telling you why. I'm telling you why. Lack of parental support, lack of guidance, the environment in which you grew up in.
You could have the best. Let me point out to you. You could come from the hood and have the best parenting, right? But your neighbor down the road who is poorer than you, he father or he uncle, he has sneakers of 500, and your parents who trying to guide you buy one for 250.
Well,
but because of your individual choice, your parents put in the best foot forward. But because of your choice and you not understanding that your parents have a mindset, want to carry you somewhere, somebody else down the road or two partners down the road, convincing you, hey, what's going on, boy? If we go down the road, so we go do this and get it.
All right, no. And we can go on and on.
Yes.
It's about an individual choice.
It is about choice.
There are poor people littered all over the country, you know. Yes. How come they are able to empower themselves?
But sometimes, I mean, in most instances, you make choices based on what you see and what you know.
If you live in an environment, you live in a household where there's cussing, fighting, promiscuity and whatever, drugs, guns and whatever, that is part of the culture of the home.
Of the home, that's right.
And this is what I'm talking about, the environment. So you do not cast blame on anyone. It's about a choice. It's about choices. Make good choices. I've been saying this on this program for a number of years. There are There are so many avenues open for young people to empower themselves. Why they don't take advantage of that? You know
because
why?
They're too lazy.
Because there's another factor involved here too, Nicole. That is what you call the influences, the American influence, the Jamaican culture, and what have you. That is what would have penetrated these communities. They copy what they see on television and they feel that is acceptable, but that is not acceptable. If it is acceptable, well, then we are reaping the whirlwind of those influences. Anyway, we have some callers here on the line, but I need to head up to the 7 o'clock newscast with Nicole Dupuy. Stay with us here. 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper.
Time has come. New 97.5. Make it your choice. Something for everyone. 975 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
U97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio.
Power to the listeners.
It is now time for Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company, Super Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Elisha Limited, and the Trinidad and Tobago News Day. That
This is the 7 a.m. news on U97.5, Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. I am Nicole Dupuy. Good morning. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has condemned the manner in which residents of East Port of Spain and environs staged demonstrations on Tuesday and Wednesday. He said while there's nothing wrong in protesting, it should be done in a certain way. The Prime Minister made the statements at a media conference yesterday.
So those who want to protest because of how they feel or because they want to draw to the attention of those who are in the authority in the country, that is protected by law and there's nothing wrong with that. When it turns to violence and destruction, then that is a different story which cannot be encouraged and which cannot be ignored.
The Prime Minister also said the demonstrations were planned.
So for those who have a hand in organizing this, what in effect they are contributing to this chronic situation is a worsening of an already bad situation. And to them, we say, run your run. Those persons I'm talking about there, some of them are 2x4 politicians. Some of them are hardened criminals for whom crime does pay.
Meanwhile, Dr. Rowley said there are many young people with guns in this country. He also noted that people are afraid of the criminals more than the police. Political leader of the New National Vision, Fuad Abubakar, has been granted bail in the sum of $75,000. This after he was arrested and charged during Tuesday's demonstrations in the capital city. He appeared before Magistrate Indar Jagu on Thursday afternoon at a virtual court hearing. These charges include obstructing a police officer in the execution of his duty and 3 counts of assaulting a police officer at the Black Lives Matter protest at the Queen's Park Savannah on June 8th. He was also charged with using violent language to provoke persons to commit a breach of the peace and breaching the COVID-19 regulations during protests along Piccadilly Street, Laventille, Port-of-Spain on June 30th. In some other news, Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Alison West, said there was no need for a forensic audit into the expenditure for hosting CARIFESTA 14. She was responding to a question from the opposition in the Senate yesterday. The question came after financial discrepancies were observed by the Auditor General. It was reported that over $12.3 million was spent in excess of the budget, the budgeted $28.4 million.
An initial budget done when the hosting of CARIFESTA by Trinidad and Tobago was first conceptualized. However, prior to the festival, which took place in August of 2019, Cabinet subsequently approved on July 4th, 2019, the sum of $43 million for the hosting of CARIFESTA 14. As such, there is no requirement for a forensic audit. It should also be noted that the Central Audit Committee is in the process of conducting a final audit.
Bail in the sum of $150,000 was granted to a 58-year-old man. This after he was arrested and charged for the sexual assault of a 15-year-old. He appeared in court this week. A release from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service said he was charged with 4 counts of sexual penetration. A Sangre Grande magistrate also ordered that the man stay at least 300 feet away from the victim. The Public Transport Services Corporation has stated that it will not limit its capacity until further notice. PTSC has relaxed its COVID-19 restrictions and returned to 100% capacity. However, passengers are required to wear masks. You are listening to the 7 a.m. news on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. It's time now to take a look at regional and international developments. We start with news from the region. Colombia has captured 8 leftist rebels. They were accused of killing at least 22 people in the bombing attack at a police academy. The National Liberation Army claimed responsibility for the January 2019 car bombing in the capital, Bogota. The rebel group claimed the attack was in retaliation for the president's refusal to respect a unilateral ceasefire declared by the leftist group in 2018. On Thursday, the president praised police and prosecutors for arresting those behind the terrorist attack. The 8 suspects face multiple charges, including murder and financing terrorism. The latest arrests bring to 13 the number of detained in connection with the bombing. Internationally, the United States economy created jobs at a record pace in June as firms took on more staff after the coronavirus downturn. Payrolls surged $4.8 million. This was the most since the Labor Department began keeping records in 1939. It was helped by the reopening of factories and restaurants. It follows May's jobs rebound when 2.5 million joined the labor market and comes after consumer spending data saw a jump in activity. However, the recent spike in COVID-19 cases has raised fears for continued growth. It's time now to take a look at the weather forecast. For the period today until tonight, Trinidad generally hazy and at times breezy with showers in a few areas. Occasional gusts are expected. Night will be mostly clear and warm. Tobago and the remainder of the Lesser Antilles initially clear, hazy and warm with showers expected in a few areas towards dawn. Night will be mostly clear. Seas will be moderate with waves up to 2 meters in open waters and less than 1 meter in sheltered areas. Currently, it's 27 degrees Celsius. And this brings us to the end of the 7 a.m. newscast on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. Stay tuned for another newscast at 8 a.m. I am Nicole Dookie. Good morning.
A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited of 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo for all your hardware materials from foundation to finish. Not forgetting all your general contracting needs. We have it all at A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited, located at 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call Tiki Ali at 650-2180.
A&S Hardware are wholesalers and retailers of plywood, an assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section, and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited, number 86 Pearville, opposite the TSTT Exchange in Mayaro. We specialize in all types of meats, dry goods, liquor, beverages, ice, LPG, gas, motor oils, stationery supplies, and photocopying. We also provide rentals of tents and chairs for your every occasion. Come in and take advantage of our specials at reduced prices on liquor, wholesale, and retail. We are open every day, even on public holidays, for your convenience. TT Post services are available here at Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited of number 86 Pearville, Mayaro, where our friendly staff will be happy to serve you.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality unbleached bromate free all-purpose and baker's flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisha Limited 665-3336 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisha Limited, quality you can trust.
Yes, indeed, and welcome back to 975 FM, a Hot Like Pepper. Just about 11 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. And that time check came to you through the kind KTC of Rajendra Rampasad, who is the People's National Movement candidate for the Couva South constituency. And as we talk about the People's National Movement, Nicole, you know, it's interesting. Since the 1960s, we've been having, general elections in this country every 5 years and what have you. Nothing has changed, you know. Nothing has changed. Last week, there was the sod tuning ceremony for the widening of the road for the San Fernando Waterfront Development Project.
Yes.
Yesterday, too, Nicole, there was the sod tuning ceremony for, listen to this, for the Diego Martin Vehicular Overpass Project. Sod tuning ceremony.
And also for the Diego Martin Regional Administrative Complex. So they killed 2 birds with one stone.
Sod tuning ceremony.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe these ministers and them, they should get involved into construction, boy, because they're looking very nice here, Coleman Burt, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, Rohan Sinanan, and Kazim Hussein tuning sod. You know, it's election in the air. Whenever you see politicians start tuning sod and so on.
And in 2 weeks' time, they're expected to turn the sod for the construction of the Moruga port. According to Works and Transport Minister yesterday, he made that pronouncement at the sod tuning ceremony in Diego Martin.
Yeah, so we can call. Anyway, I have said enough on that. Sod tuning ceremony. You know, it's election in the air when you see politicians kissing babies and turning sod and walking in your communities and what have you. Anyway, let's move on with our conversation here this morning. Go on.
But coming out of that, Kenrick, I must say we have to commend the government because Minister Sinanan boasted that this project, this Diego Martin overpass project, it's basically money from that they saved. They saved over $200 million, according to him, from the construction of the Curep Interchange project, and this is the money that they're going to be using to build this. And if you recall, when they reopened the bridge and crossing there, he also boasted that government was able to save 1 point something billion, if I am corrected. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but he was also able to save. So I guess we have to commend the government now for being able to save all this money.
Well, good job by the government of the day for saving taxpayers and money and so on. But I find it is so obscene that just on the eve of a general election, you have all of these sod being turned by government officials and so on.
Saved, huh?
Yeah,
all this money
on the eve of a general election. Oh, how interesting! They say that the more things change, the more things have a tendency to remain the same.
Yes.
Let's take this call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Election in the air, and they're fixing everywhere. Right. So, well, let me check on. We must give Jack his jacket and Jim his gym boots, right? Congratulations to the government for saving money on the QF overpass that they could use elsewhere.
Yes.
For the good and benefit of all.
Development of the country.
Yes. But we don't have to wait till election time to do everything.
Agreed.
That's my point. You understand?
No, but I remember the Prime Minister some time back said that in the last year, it's a year of delivery, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kendrick, you and I will know strategically that that this is the initiative. Whether you want to do it before or not, you're holding your hand because you know you're going to catch the people psychologically with a paving road, doing this, doing that. So all politicians are guilty of a psychological impact on people. You know, it is up to us to take it or leave it for what it's worth.
All right, so let's go back to our pet topic this morning. This committee set up by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. It's described as a community recovery program. Recover from what?
Recovering from their own deficiencies. That's all I could say. And it's years of sleeping parliamentarians.
So if you have to set up a community, or rather, a program that is looking after the needs of the community, what then are the roles of your members of parliament?
And in these
And
communities,
your councillors as well.
in these communities have three things: your members of parliament, your councillors, and I'm sure they have
Community groups.
Community councils, call them what you will. And also there was MLIO set up a few
Youth clubs in the areas as
you
well.
have all kinds of
Yes.
systems in place already.
So
to
why you
set
need
up
more?
an ethics committee. Keith Cutland is not, forgive me, he is not one of the lawyers that always represent Mr. Rowley or Dr. Rowley.
Well, I have my views on that, but I will not share it with you and the listening audience as of now.
Yes.
I try.
Don't say any. Don't
No.
don't say anything
You-
further.
you see,
Kendrick,
no,
Kendrick,
no.
don't say anything further.
All right, let me just add.
Yes.
You see, sometimes people have a tendency to portray themselves as being independent.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in essence, they are closet politician.
We know that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem you having any political affiliation.
No.
But come out and say, well, okay, I'm a supporter of
Yes.
so-and-so, I'm a supporter of so-and-so. Don't hide behind and say so.
Yes.
Yes, that's true. That's true. We when it comes to that, to use a common phrase, man, we are very hypocritical.
All right, and talking about hypocrisy, let's stay with the election for a while. You have this fella called Michael Seals, who was the former secretary,
Head of
former
the
president of
Public
the Police Social and Welfare
Welfare
Association.
Yeah.
You know, always try to portray himself as being independent. But lo and behold, a couple of months ago, he came out and said, well, he's a supporter of the People's National
Yes.
Movement. He's a member of the People's National Movement. And he is prepared to contest the Tabakit seat.
Well, what about Dwayne O'Connor?
No.
Dwayne O-
And this is the point I'm making. Do not try to tell me that you are an independent person. Best interest of Trinidad and Tobago. No. You're looking at what is in the best interest of your party and the
your
best
pocket.
interest of yourself.
and your pocket.
Yeah. You are not there to serve. If you are there to serve, maybe Fitzy, Marlene McDonald, and others like them would have the answers. They would understand and appreciate facing the people of East Port of Spain.
Exactly.
But they don't have these people to think about. No.
No.
They only
It's
come
all
around
about-
when it's election time.
Sorry, it's all about me and myself
Mhm.
when it comes to these things. You understand? Everybody want to get a piece of the what do you call it? The trappings and the trimmings of parliament.
Of office.
Of office and that kind of thing. You understand?
The perks of office, my friend.
Yeah. So let me see. What relates to Cleopatra, because as I said to you and I posted some months ago, that how could she have served two masters, being a professional athlete?
No, and this is where the PNM would have fallen down.
Yeah.
This is where they would have fallen down. That is it. They should have done their homework.
Well, they said they now claim that she has dual citizenship. That's why they had to refuse her.
No, but she herself would be
Exactly.
aware that she has.
And she should learn from Robert Lee Hunt, His Excellency.
Mhm.
You understand? Because Lee Hunt he almost swear in and he had to swear out and go back and do what he had to do.
All right, leave it there, Bhavani. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Kendrick, I was thinking about that recovery team, that recovery committee.
Which recovery?
The
roadmap to recovery?
The economic recovery team?
The one for Lavender and Beta, the community
Or the
one.
community recovery program?
Yes.
They can, how they are going to make a difference in those people's lives is if they promise every single family a job, and they give them employment, they double their food card, and they give them adequate and good housing.
No, and
do you know what that does for the whole...
Teno in Wassa.
Thank you very much.
They want
That
a job
even
at
happen every state
TST.
enterprise.
They want, yes.
With a nice pension plan.
They want to be
While
a
the
police
rest of-
officer.
This and every grant that comes into this country goes to Port of Spain. United Nations, Children's Fund, AIDS, you name it, it goes into Port of Spain, and it stays in Port of Spain. Anything that has to do with books, education, does that hit the poor communities? Never. Do you see rehabilitation centers in the communities? No. Do you see non-profits in the communities? No. Every B Mobile, all those big companies go as a meal ticket to election. They've used poverty as a statistic, and they've kept those people down intentionally like they do the rest of us. And I say something today, I'm so tired of people having to interview. That has to stop if we want to change
That's
the way
right.
we think in. And we have to rise up. I am done and tired of us faking and lying. And let me talk to the Prime Minister truthfully. He wants to buy votes. We're not going to pay for votes anymore. We are going to demand rights. And I think Abu Bakr should rise up right now and demand rights, not gangs. Let us talk about constitution rights. Thanks.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I know it's interesting to know that the Prime Minister said look, the protests,
Yes.
but peaceful protests
Yes.
in a structured manner.
Yes.
I support that. I concur with this call for justice, but not revenge. You're trying to appease. In other words, the Prime Minister, the opposition leader is correct,
Yes.
looking for sympathy and just trying to mamagai these people. Listen to what she said, takes loyalty of these communities for granted. The objective has always been to keep these communities in dependency syndrome, desperately needing the state. They have deliberately victimized their own constituencies because they take for granted that they are loyal.
Yes.
And this is exactly what communities decide to show some sort of resistance, to show dissent at the way they are being treated. You come now to appease them, to mamagai them.
So now you know why he has to appoint a committee, because the members of parliament, they have not been, they've neglected the constituency.
Then a silent signal
To his MPs?
to his MPs. Donald
Yes.
Ollie would have failed. You people would have failed. So now I have to look outside to set up a committee to get help
To do your work.
to recognize what are the challenges that these people are facing. I have to set up a committee to do that. You all would have failed. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, Miss Duki.
Good morning.
Miss Nicole Duki. And morning, Bigo.
Good morning, my friend.
Well, by Mr. Kenneth, all I can say yesterday, the Prime Minister, we had to give him kudos. He can't say nothing about what he said yesterday because UDC's win. He fired a little job at the end, but he kind of put a little ice in it. He didn't move normally. He didn't normally move. He hit a little ice in it and he hit this fellow he called him like a thing in the end, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that is about it there. What else could we say? We had to just wait and listen you. Remember when the boss he used to pay 10 cents? That fellow used to pay $1 right up and down. So the dependency change starts in the time of Eric William, he thought, through the fact that, people came out of slavery. Well, those were dude. You had the dude program. You had bus ride 10 cents, and everything. Nothing was wrong with that, but at the end of the day, we didn't teach them the that culture, kind of culture is something those in it add and different. And they seen people with things, and they were not cultured in that kind of manner to work and hard and sacrifice.
No, I take issue with issue with that.
Well, at this point in time, it's academic. With the opportunities that were made available, I mean, besides the giving away, the government made all the governments made efforts to have things, opportunities, and try and move forward, move yourself forward.
Well, my friend,
I mean,
you should go to the head of the class. I've been saying that for the longest while.
Yeah, we had to do that. I mean, we wanted about 20, 25 years ago, certain opportunities were not available to people. But
All right,
now,
hold on. Let me engage you a bit. Okay, so the committee, after a while, will make a determination that these communities need help. They need jobs. Where are they going to get these jobs?
Who is providing the jobs for them?
the job, where you're saying, if you're not employable, where you going to get that job now? I mean, you have to be employable too.
So, building swimming pool, community centers and so on, doesn't necessarily mean to say that these people will be empowered, you know?
Yeah, I mean, employer.
Let me throw your mind back to Nicole.
Yes.
This very same Prime Minister would have called on people to wean yourself off the state.
Yes.
Yesterday, the government cannot give you everything. The government cannot give you a job. The government can't give you a house. What are you doing? What is the hope? What is your objective?
That is what
and
we have
these
to
are the
wait
questions
to see.
being asked.
What is the he needs to outline the roles and responsibility of this program, these persons, this committee that he set up to man this program. He needs to outline that so people will understand.
If the former mayor of Port of Spain said, look, this is not the end of it, you know. This is just the calm before the storm. Because these communities, they want what you call immediate help, you know.
Yes.
Immediate help.
Yes.
They are not prepared to listen to old talk or what have you know. Okay.
You know what the Prime Minister said at a CARICOM meeting? He said that crime occurs in Trinidad because people are crazy. So let me send all the psychiatrists, all the doctors, all the therapists, and let me put them to behavioral training, right? We will send them there into lab there, and let me make them sane now, because the Prime Minister say, all you're crazy. That is what he said. Thanks.
Nicole, I'm going to ask a rhetoric question here, and who vexed laws, eh?
Yeah.
You can respond, or the callers can respond, and I will take your call. How come that these problems that are cropping up on a regular basis are only in constituencies controlled by the People's National Movement?
Kenrick, I really
don't respond. Don't respond. Let me ask the question again. How come people that all of these problems in the main emanates controlled or communities that continue to support the People's National Movement? Don't answer. It's a rhetoric question. Anyway, it's just about 29 o'clock, and that time check came to you through the kind courtesy of Mr. Rajendra Rampasad, the People's National Movement candidate for the Couva South constituency. Anybody can answer me that question this morning? Well, I will engage you. Let's go to some commercials here this morning on 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper. Stay with us.
Visit Eddie's Pharmacies Limited newest location inside JTA Supermarket, C3 Center, Current Village, San Fernando. They offer blood pressure, cholesterol, and pregnancy testing, as well as all pharmaceutical products and over-the-counter drugs, along with CDAP prescriptions. Sagicor CariCare International Medical Card, Guardian Life Provider Card, and Republic Bank points are all accepted at their 3 locations of Eddie's Pharmacy Limited. RS Building, Rosha Douglas Road, Barrackpore, GN Building
Hotel invites you to dine in our newest and exquisite grand opening Chai Thai restaurant situated at LP 12 Golden Grove Road, Piaku. 10th of June, we can offer you our indoor and outdoor patio and rooftop restaurant dining. All meats halal. For reservations, call 331-5013-320-1093. Our email address, chaitai19@gmail.com. Opening hours, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. Takeaway and delivery services are available 11 a.m. to 2:20 p.m. Secure parking and excellent services.
On the road again with U975 FM, Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. Yes, we're back with our road shows, Beep FM Bandwagon, as we bring you live broadcasts from locations throughout the country. Come enjoy our company with music, entertainment, and lots of giveaways. Stay with the U975 FM, Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio for greater programming as we hit the road again.
Only the people can save the people. This is the mantra of the National Solidarity Assembly. Join its political leader and president of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, Nirvan Maharaj, as he invites you to join these organizations and other top executives on U97 Like Pepper for 2 one-hour monthly features as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of this country, tackling the issues, generating bold talk, finding solutions to the front burner, and providing a new vehicle. That's the NSA's mission. Be part of this informative panel discussion with operatives from the NSA. Only happening here on U97.5, Hot Like Pepper.
Voices from the ghetto, crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying, crying. Voices from the ghetto, crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying. Voices from the ghetto. Just holding head on ball, and them woman stronger than a wall. A big pusher eyeing she daughter, son in jail for manslaughter. Too bad for the here named black boys, no bail. That's the black man's choice. Like Shadow say, poverty is hell. Child belly start to swear. Some say life is a cycle, but don't draw she no circle. Well, we thought and don't time to tell. Outside the siren keep howling, inside your belly will growling. Police raid very often, Simpson measuring a coffin. One night in bed you're sleeping, next night is a wake that you're keeping. So you're praying to win the lotto, not to hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying, crying. Voices from the ghetto. We are not a forgotten people. Yo. With dented pride, they soldier on. Revolutions, based politicians born. And often their tragic story brings a journalist glory. No wonder they view the world with scorn. From since the day they call them
At 97.5. So let me say a very special good morning to Mr. Maharaj this morning. Good morning, Nirvan. How are you?
Pleasant good morning to you, Ken, and of course to all the listeners. And I must say,
that you're trying to social distancing and we're trying to observe all of the guidelines.
Of course.
Guidelines to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Well, we've got most of these. The country would have witnessed communities, men coming from East Port of Spain, taking up whatever to show the dissent, to show dissatisfaction about the way things are being done in this country, calling on the authorities of the day, if there are any at all which you can identify, which would have prompted these to behave in such a particular manner. And behaving in such a particular manner, note that this too, or these incidents would have been portrayed or carried on international. Certainly, the international community looking on at what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Share your thoughts with me.
Well, thank you very much, Ken, and certainly the Trinidad and Tobago world, we are a global village, and anything that transpires in any part of the world, just as we would see it, so too the world would see us. What would have transpired over the last few days is nothing new to Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe the manner and methodology by which it occurred may be a bit different, but in new occasions. 1970, for example, you saw 50,000 people on the streets, the urban youth on the streets marching against neocolonialism and for better living and working conditions. So it's nothing new to official excuses. The official that is not to say that it is not a genuine reaction and a genuine cry of a large segment of those communities to what they perceive by the authorities. So there are many reasons, but you have to understand the nature of Trinidad and Tobago. From as far back as 1792, with the schedule of the population, the influence of the British, French, the Corsicans, the Germans, the Amerindians, the free coloreds, free slaves, some of who also had slaves themselves. You have a diverse society with all aspects of the society attempting to find their place in the society and to also get a piece of the economic pie. And that is one of the underlying factors that we are seeing. And what would have happened, it is my view, for example, in the 1970s when you had this massive demonstration against the PNM government and what people perceived as Eric Williams' colonial mentality and attitude, 50,000 on the streets, march. That movement was basically killed by one act of Dr. Eric Williams, and that was the introduction of DUDE. I want you to understand exactly where I'm going with this. And what I mean by DUDE, instead of creating sustainable jobs, instead of implementing policies and programs so far back as to lay the foundation for economic development, entrepreneurship, to change the cultural mindset of a people, you had plasters being put on sores. Without tackling the root of the problem, you simply place superficial plasters on the sores and the discontent. So by the introduction of DUDE, you basically kill the Black Power movement. Because what have you done from the 70s coming down to the 80s to the 90s? You have introduced free education, free food in the schools, bus pass, free transportation, even through NHA, the paying of $11 a month, for example, rent. In some instances, you have introduced free housing. So, to a very large extent, on political patronage and handouts from the state, you have succeeded in creating a permanent underclass who will have to be content, not that they are content, but will have to be content with CPEP, URP, and DUDE jobs and LID and all these sorts of programs that were implemented. Stopgap measures to cover up the boiling that existed with so many social and economic deficiencies in the structure. You're also looking at a system where arising out of slavery and indentureship going into the 1900s, you are looking at almost a total breakdown because of the system of slavery. Now, slavery cannot be used as an excuse for indiscipline, for lack of sacrifice, as an excuse to commit crime or to think you have. Same as indentureship. Same of these communities, you have seen a breakdown of family structure going back to the 1800s to the 1700s coming down. You have seen a tearing away and a ripping away of certain cultural norms and certain cultural. One of the things that, for example, and I'm not comparing and contrasting, I'm just speaking. One of the things that allowed many persons of East Indian descent to hold on to certain core values was the fact that they were able to practice to a very large extent inheritance. That would have saved them in many instances, because when they come from the fields and they face the brutality of an indentureship system, refuge was found in that cultural expression which belonged to them and them alone. You have to understand, and this is not an excuse, but I try to look at the underlying factors. When you take away a man's name, his religion, his language, his culture, you have not put in place systems after slavery and after all these years to enable him to be able to grasp himself identity, then we are in trouble. Because Trinidad and Tobago, there's no such thing as a Trinidadian. There's no such thing as an American, that unique Trini flavor. So these protests and demonstrations, what we have seen, while I extent of criminal activity involved, there are so many underlying factors deliberately or sometimes inadvertently created by the people that it is difficult to overcome. In the 1970s, 60s, Maya, you know the Mayan Empire. You even had Maya coming to work in Trinidad as Mayans coming to accommodate that large influx of immigrants. Anything being put in place except plasters and sores, lid and dude, and make work programs, and to an extent free housing, creating that dependency syndrome in order to create a political base that cannot be shaken. And I put the blame squarely on the PNM cultural sociological society, what we protest and demonstration, even in the 1970s. The rural people were separate and distinct from that which existed in the urban parts of Trinidad and Tobago. So the PNM, I think, to a very large extent, while they are attempting to solve the issue, I think to a very large extent the blame for that sort of protest and demonstration and criminality fairly at the feet of the PNM and succeeding political parties that came after, because whether we like it or not, from the 1990s, let's forget the Scott drug on both sides of the divide, treating criminals as community leaders, and in a bid for political support and to appease or maybe to create a system of false social security and stability, and appeasing and appeasing and appeasing. And what we are seeing now, we are simply reaping the whirlwind that we have sowed from the 70s perceived or alleged criminal elements in the society, Ken. That is my point of view. And let me say this. I like to always look at it from both sides of the divide. Dude and Lid and European CPEP and this economic recovery, what is it, the community recovery plan of the PNM, that is no different from the Orange program of the UNC or Life Sport of the UNC. The concept is the same, where you are attempting to put plasters on sores. This problem is not going to solve, this is not a short-term solution. The solution to this tip 1 or 2 generations. And people may disagree with me. It is not a short-term issue. This is a psychological problem. It is a problem that stems from years upon years of a certain mindset that will be very difficult to change. And at this point, simultaneously with the plasters and the sores, you have to implement to change the very psyche people. If you don't, then we are in trouble. Because unless you could perpetuate that family structure, that cultural expression, not necessarily a cultural expression born out of Trinidad alone or the Trinidadian experience, but that cultural expression spanning hundreds and thousands of years, then you will continue to be in trouble. Family structure and education, to me, at this point in time, will have to be the long-term goal while you attempt to put plasters over the sores of what we are seeing in our society, Ken.
Well, you talk of the mind, a new thinking.
It is a revolution of the mind. It has to be, otherwise we will be in trouble, because we continue in Trinidad and Tobago to use European CPAP as permanent jobs, for example. And it's both sides of the divide. The only difference between certain constituencies of the opposition, like certain places in Barrackpore and what have you, is the expression of the discontent. But there is discontent, there is disenfranchisement, there is disillusion. You have it, it exists. It is simply the manner in which that discontent is expressed. And let me come back to one point before you...
Let me So why is this manifestation, which you just spoke about, only inconstitutional by the People's National Movement?
That is a question that is very, very difficult to answer, and there's no one answer to that question. It has to do with much of what I have said, to a very large extent. And let me give you an example then. There are 4,000 ex-Caroni workers still to get what is due to them. 4,000. They have to get a residential plot. I spoke during the period of the UNC's government, and I spoke against the UNC on behalf of them. I won't condemn, because it seems as though I'm a traitor and I'm condemning the UNC, that which they support. Although you are doing it in order to get something that... If someone told me late in the struggle, Nervan, if Caroni workers wanted their land, they could get their land. Because this is a mandatory court order, the Justice Dial Singh judgment. If they really want their land, they will get their land. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. Content is very different among the communities, and that has to do with many factors: cultural, economic, political. In 1970, and this is not the first time we have Spain rise up against a PNM government. In 1970, 50,000 people were on the streets. Beverly Joe, example. By the time the funeral reached Port of Spain, you still had people marching from San Juan into Port of Spain. And the point I'm making is that the expression of the discontent is different. You may ask why. I don't even think it's a question of PNM constituencies as much as it is a mindset of I am a Trinidadian and I want it, or the mindset of I am a Trinidadian but I'm a bit disconnected from what is Trinidad, and I'm disconnected from my rights and my privileges and what is due to me.
Is it that these communities feel neglected, feel left out, because historically they would have supported a particular political party? Is it that the fair share of the pie, that is why they are behaving in this particular way?
I don't know whether it's the question of being given a fair share of the pie. I think it could be a question of wanting the pie, and not on a very large extent how you do get a piece of the pie. Because poverty is not exclusive to Port of Spain. Abject poverty is not exclusive to Port of Spain. You have abject poverty throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. You have an indentureship system that ended in 1917 basically to 1920 in Trinidad and Tobago. Up to the 1960s, for example, in 1924, you had a language barrier being attempted to put in place to prevent East Indians from voting in Trinidad. You're talking about 1924, I'm talking about. And that is a fact. People can't say no. When you looked at the public service and the institutions of the public service, it was, as far as I'm concerned, and from my own interpretation and my own readings, geared towards being an employment bank for supporters of the People's National Movement, because they are going to vote the PNM still, whether you like it or not. Just as Felicity and Barrackpore will vote the UNC no matter what. And that is how it is in Trinidad. What I'm saying is that the exchange will be the cry, if we remove the criminal element, will be the cry of a people for better living conditions and for peace of the economic path. Questions of the UNC supporters who are due their colony lands is one of staying home and hoping somebody will take up the fight for them. That is the difference.
So what is the solution, if we can find any at all?
Like I've programs in place for two things, and I'm saying it again openly without fear or favor. Family structure, cultural expression, and of course, education.
All right, Mr. Mirage, we leave it there for a while. We're going up with Mr. Nirvan Mirage, political leader of the National Solidarity Assembly, and by extension, the President General of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. We're looking at what would have transpired in this country, more so in Port-of-Spain within the last couple of days. We are trying to get answers to analyze exactly what took place, why it took place. When we come back, this is just to mamagai the people of East Port-of-Spain. It's just what you call window dressing, buying time and what have you as we enter into the general election of 2020. We've got much more to discuss on this morning program. That's here, 975 FM.
Something for every
News to the...
Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. I am Uma Rajan Singh. Good morning. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has condemned the manner in which residents of Port-of-Spain and environs staged demonstrations on Tuesday and Wednesday. He said while there is nothing wrong with protesting, it should be done in a certain way. The Prime Minister yesterday.
So those who want to protest because of how they feel or because they want to draw to the attention of those who are in the authority in the country, that is protected by law, and there's nothing wrong with that. When it turns to violence and destruction, then that is cannot be ignored.
The Prime Minister said the demonstrations were planned.
So for those who have a hand in organizing this, what in effect they're contributing to this chronic situation is a worsening of an already bad situation. And to them, we say, run your run. Those persons I'm talking about them are 2x4 politicians. Some of them are hardened criminals for whom crime does pay.
The voice of Prime Minister Dr. Keith, Minister in the Ministry of Finance Alison West, said there was no need for a forensic audit into the expenditure for hosts. She was responding to a question from the opposition in the Senate yesterday. The question came after financial discrepancies were observed by the Auditor General. It was reported that over $12.3 million was spent in...
However, prior to the festival, which took place in August of 2019, Cabinet subsequently approved on July 4, 2019, the sum. As such, there is no requirement for a forensic audit. It should also be noted that the Central Audit Committee is in the process of conducting a final audit.
Has been released on $75,000 bail. This after he was arrested while engaged in protest actions against police brutality at Piccadilly Street, Port-of-Spain on charges over his role in a Black Lives Matter protest outside the United States Embassy on June 8th. Two charges related to this week's protests sparked by the death of 3 men from Morva who were shot dead by police over the weekend, and 3 charges for assaulting and from performing his duties at the BL was granted after making a virtual court appearance from the Besson Street Police Station yesterday afternoon. However, Barker pleaded not guilty to the offences and is expected to reappear in court on July 30th. Leader of Government Business in the PNM, Clarence Rambarat, has an urgent question in the Senate on Thursday. Minister Rambarat noted that the process after murder occurs involves counseling for the families of the victims from the Victim and Witness Support Unit of Police Service and will lend additional support if needed. Were made on the lives of police officers and the threats were escalating. Regionally in Guyana, 4 months have passed since Guyana's March 2nd regional and national elections, with no winner legally and for the United States, the Organization of American States, the Commonwealth of Nations, and most notably CARICOM. The latest events has come from an injunction filed by an APNU and AFC supporter to stop JCOM, the statutory body responsible for declaring a winner, from declaring the People's Progressive Party and Civic Party and its presidential candidate Ali the election's winner. Internationally, according to a BBC report, people arriving in England from dozens of nations will no longer need to quarantine from July 10th. A full list of low-risk countries is set to be published, and Germany. Prime Minister Boris Johnson urged the public to act responsibly ahead of England's lockdown being eased. And in the U.S., Texas governor ordered face coverings to be worn in public as virus cases skyrocket, with 53,000 new set a new one-day record for new infections. And that's the end of the news to 8 a.m. Join us at 10 for news update. I am Irma Ratan Singh, wishing you a good morning.
That was Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages for Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Leisha Limited, and the Trinidad and Tobago News. Only the people can save the people. This is the mantra of the National Solidarity Assembly. Workers' Trade Union, Nirvan Maharaj, as he joined these organizations and other top executives on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper for 2 one-hour monthly features as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of this country, tackling the issues, generating bold talk, finding solutions, bringing the workers' agenda to the front burner, and providing a new vehicle. That's the NSA's mission. Be part of this informative panel discussion with operatives from the happening here on Hot Like Pepper.
Yes, indeed, and thank you very much for staying with us here at 975 as we continue our conversation with Mr. Nirvan Maharaj, the President General of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union. Note to folks that you can catch us live on YouTube at RCL U975. Let's start duties this morning in making us look quite healthy and appropriate for you, our ardent listening and viewing audience. You're with the morning program, 975 FM, Hot Like Pepper. Mr. Maharaj, before we went to the 8 o'clock news, we spoke about the history. You spoke about the history, what would have contributed towards this grouping of people, protesting and appealing to the authorities of the day that they need greater resources and what have you. But what are the answers? This new committee, program, team set up by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, in your humble view, what do you think is the objective of this committee?
I am not an incumbent politician. I don't sit in parliament. I have not been given a seat by any political party, and therefore I do not simply hear something proposed and condemn and criticize it immediately. I don't do that. I'm not going down that road, and I mean, I will tell you a solution or an answer will attack, condemn, and criticize, because even radio talk show hosts will have their own personal deep down inside bias towards their own, to the party that they would support. You know, Shakespeare had a saying, there's no art to tell the mind's construction in the face, meaning you could never know what someone is truly thinking. And therefore, I am not here to, I won't condemn the community recovery program policy which is implemented by the PM. What I will say is that at analysis, I cannot see what the community program initiative could present to the Prime Minister in a report to the national community. We do know what the problems are. The problems are a mixture of criminal elements that have been allowed to run wild and rampant, supported tactically, as in Jamaica at one time with Edward Seaga and Michael Manley. Criminal gangs supported tactically by certain politicians. And when I say supported, I'm not saying that the politicians are supporting them to engage. I'm saying the politicians are supporting them and have supported them since the 90s, as I've said, and even before that, in subtle ways, in an attempt to appease or in an attempt to have that social stability within certain communities. But at the end of the day, when you keep appeasing and appeasing and appeasing, you are creating monsters that you cannot control later on. So that is one of the issues. That is not to say issues of people who feel marginalized, people who feel as though they have not been given a fair opportunities, people who feel that they have been stigmatized, that they have been stereotyped. Now understand what I'm saying. I am not saying that that is what is. I am saying what I believe people may feel. I'm not saying whether it is true or not, because then you have the alternative argument. We all have opportunities in primary school. We all have opportunities in secondary school. Just as my mother sat down with me by the kitchen table in the night with a rack in her hand to ensure that I did my work, so too other parents have to do the same for their children. So you will always back and forth. For me, the issues here is not a question of economic recovery. If you want to implement that, then that is going to simply implement short-term measures, plasters on sores. I am saying the solution to this issue, as much as we may want to think differently, the solutions to this issue would not happen overnight. This is a change in the psyche of a people. And when I say people, I mean Trinidad and Tobago, not one geographical location. A change in the psyche, because there must be an understanding in Trinidad and Tobago of historical dynamic relates to what groups of people we have in Trinidad and Tobago. At this point in time is while you seek for that long-term solution, you will have to implement policies and programs to appease the situation. Yes, you will be condemned for saying that, but that is no different to CPAP and URP and LID and DUDE and Color Me Orange and Life Sport. It is the same thing that all the political parties have attempted to do to maintain that social stability. The only problem is, while attempting to do that, they were not putting programs and policies in place to create that long-term goal. And you see, before you ask me a question, that except for the PNM, which is the oldest political party since the 1950s, ideology is something we are missing in Trinidad. Our incumbent political parties do not have a political ideology on how they want a country to be. I see many politicians comparing Trinidad to Singapore. Oh, Singapore is so small and there's no natural resources and Singapore has done well. Do you know what is the fundamental difference between Singapore and Trinidad and Tobago? The culture of the people. Because what the people in Singapore will have to face if they breach rules and regulations, Trinidad and could never even comprehend that. Because one is an authoritarian, totalitarian regime. If you disrespect the police, you face the consequences. If you are drinking in the streets, you face the consequences. That is something Trinidadians and Tobagonians do not understand. And that is why I say cultural expression also have to be a major part as we strive towards a long-term solution. Not for Port of Spain, but for Trinidad and Tobago as a whole, because there's discontent, there's disdain, there's contempt, there's many people suffering in this country. It is simply that the expressions of the different communities are different because how they would have been shaped and molded when they came to Trinidad and Tobago.
Mr. Maraj, you spoke about expression, and yesterday Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley talked about protests, yes, but in a structured manner. He spoke about justice, yes, but he also spoke about revenge. How significant this protest is, given what we would have seen in other regions in Europe and so on with the Black Lives Matter movement? Would that have prompted, in a sense, this sort of behavior by these people from these communities?
There may be subtle indicators pointing to the fact that it may have had an influence, but at the end of the day, like I said before, 1970, for example, we had the same type of protests and demonstrations, much larger than what we have here. The difference in these protests that we have is that you could see blatantly. I have no qualms about that. I'm not a politician in the sense of opposition or government. Therefore, I don't have to take a particular stance and hope it sounds politically correct so that somebody would like me. The fact is there are huge criminal elements in this protest that took place. I could see that for myself. I think that we have to support the police service and we have to support our police officers, because all the persons who are condemning Gary Griffith and others, these police officers are the same ones. So if something happened to you and your family in any part of the Trinidad and Tobago, these are the same ones who you are going to call and beg to come and rescue you. Because you certainly don't want that movement in the United States being perpetuated here about defund the police and have community policing. Trinidad would be too small to encourage that sort of nonsense. As far as I'm concerned, the police have done an excellent job so far. And what has happened to my own communities, where I live in Couva North, and the rampant crime that would have taken place, and that is why I still can't comprehend, I keep saying it, I still cannot comprehend the opposition's opposition towards the bail amendment bill. It is something, as a lawyer, someone who have gone to Golden Grove times with criminals young as the age of 17 and 18 and seen their eyes and their faces. I know that I'm looking at mercy, who will rape and rob and kill and violate without fear or thinking of the consequence, without conscience. And you have them being caught with a firearm and being back out on the street 2 days after to do what they have to do. I certainly can't understand that, especially because of the type of crime that is now existing in these communities that were traditionally safe. And as you know, Ken, we had our own experience in the union with that, with regard to crime. On his left side, because he was almost beaten to death because of 3 criminals that entered and brutalized the family. So that is one thing I can't understand. But you need to have an ideology, Ken. If you don't have an ideological perspective on how you want a country to run, you are in trouble. You have to give the PNM credit for one thing, you know. People accuse me of being PNM or UNC, whatever, but that is not so. You give credit where credit is due. The PNM had the foreign policy. The PNM's foreign policy ideology from 1960 to 2020 is the same. So that is that's an example I'm using of an ideology as a political party, and it is something I would like to see in the United National Congress as well as the alternative government, where you have a particular ideology when it relates to certain. I don't think the PNM have any ideology whatsoever on crime. I don't think the PNM has any ideology whatsoever with the education system, because they are not adapting to the changes in the world. But you give credit where credit is due, and when it comes to foreign policy, for example, you have an ideology. So what is lacking is when incumbent political parties do not have an ideology, their own supporters do not have an ideology. So what we have happening in Trinidad and Tobago is we are all blowing in the wind, supporting political parties, no matter how bad it may be, simply because of how they look.
Say to people in these communities, what would your message be to them? Because Prime Minister Dr. Kiroti would have called on them to behave in a particular way, to put down your guns, protest, but in a structured manner. Of course, they feel aggrieved, they feel disenchanted, they feel disenfranchised. What would you say to them moving forward?
It is not what I would say to them. It is what I would say to the political parties, UNC or the PNM. I would say that the time has come for you to implement certain policies and programs that is not simply plasters on sacrifice and hard work, family structure, cultural expression, and education in these communities. And yes, there's the argument, but that already exists. Other communities, people will school and work, study hard and get what they have to get. But you also have to understand that sometimes, just sometimes, you have to look at the bigger picture. And in my mind, the bigger picture is seeing people driving into Port of Spain and have done nothing wrong, who are not in political office and so cannot chart the direction of policy and programs. And when you look at the bigger picture, you have to understand it is not simply sitting down in South or sitting in Princestown and looking at what's happening there and feeling disconnected from it. And so you make statements and you condemn or you criticize or you say, look, if you continue to do that without getting intimately involved in attempting own political parties that you support to implement long-term policies and programs to solve that situation, you're in trouble. Because the fact is, let's be practical. There's no political party in Trinidad, the PNM or the UNC, who has the political will to clear that which surrounds the capital city. None. Or move, because Shantytown, which became Beetham, was there for a very long time. Sealots, there for a very long time, has the will to remove these places and take these communities and put them elsewhere. None whatsoever. So you have to find a solution. If you don't have the political will, you have to find a solution. And the solution could only be and as much as people may not want me to say it, the solution can only be one, as I said before. You have to implement short-term plasters on the sores, because this is not us. This is not about pie. My major concern is the social stability, because there are many people who may want to condemn and criticize, but they don't understand social instability and what could happen if you don't have that social stability. And therefore, that is why you have to implement plasters on the sores simultaneously while you are attempting to deal with it through these long-term programs of sense of confidence and what have you in these communities. That is the only way I could see it being done. But otherwise, you could have a society running amok.
But there are those who are saying that social programs, more dependency on the state is...
Trinidad is a very plural society. And believe me, we vote in a particular way because they are deep down inside. There are certain things that exist deep within our minds where race and ethnicity take precedent in many instances. You have the influences from the United States and other parts of the world. You have the perpetuation of a black American ghetto culture that has existed since the 1970s and before, to the psyche of our people, on both sides of the divide. If you don't understand what I'm saying, those who talk about social programs is not the answer, fine. I agree it is not the answer. But it has to be a short-term solution. Otherwise, you may very well find yourself saying, get rid of social programs. You have nothing to put in place. And in the time you are looking, the 2 generations that you are looking to build a particular psyche and a particular cultural, economic expression within your country, between that time, you may not be able to deal with the whirlwind that you have unleashed. And that is what I'm saying, and that is what people have to understand.
Mr. Raj, there's another matter which I want to talk to you here about, and this is the Guyana general election. Guyana general election was held on March 2nd, 2020. There would have been those who would have been calling for a recount. Certain entities, more so CARICOM, the OAS, European Union, and so on. walk us through. What do you anticipate now that this matter is now before the Caribbean Court of Justice, and the next week a decision will be made as to the validity of votes and so on? It's a brouhaha which continues to impact on the population of Guyana. The entire population of Guyana is in limbo as to who is a clear-cut winner in this 2020.
There's no doubt in my mind that the CCJ should rule in one particular way. Now, I can't preempt the ruling of judges and what evidence goes before them. But if what I've seen in the media, then there's only one outcome to the CCJ's hearing. And if what I'm seeing with regard to this Pompeo and what he's saying with regard to Guyana, then maybe there's certainly you may see this thing escalating a bit more. Because there's no doubt in my mind that Granger, it seems, is following in the footsteps of Burnham, and you could see the beginning once again of a creeping dictatorship in Guyana. Burnham's dictatorship was a brutal atrocity against the people of Guyana, and I always say it is a travesty of colossal proportions that Caribbean governments at that time never stood up and condemned of Forbes Burnham. And certainly I'm happy that I've seen people like Mia Motley and these Caribbean leaders who have stood up and said will be heard. We are small countries. I don't know what we could do. We may very well have to depend on the United Nations and the larger countries with greater economic influence to determine the fate of Guyana. If the people of the Guyana, if the will of the people are being obstructed by simply one or two politicians.
But these entities would have spoken and they would have endorsed that the will of the people of Guyana, their voices in a particular way. Can we anticipate, Mr. Maraj, going forward, that if Granger do not accept what decision is handed down, let's say blacklisting, sanctions against the people of Guyana?
Well, it's not only the question of blacklisting or sanctions against the people. You may very well find individual sanctions being put on these individuals who are attempting to thwart the will of the people. My major concern in Guyana coming out of the 1970s and 80s, for example, even before that. That's when in the 60s when Cheddi Jagan was MI6 and the CIA, and Burnham installed. I think Jimmy Carter in the 1990s apologized to the people of Guyana for that move of the CIA and MI6 as a British intelligence agency that deal with overseas. That I hope never again to see the type of internal conflicts that existed in Guyana at that time reappear now in 2020, because whether we like it or not, there were a lot of killings and atrocities that took place in Guyana. There's that incident of a whole Amerindian tribe being surrounded in Guyana. You have places like Buxton, you have Georgetown, where persons of East Indian descent couldn't walk, and vice versa. You actually had internal. It was almost like an undeclared civil war that existed in Guyana. And certainly I don't want to see that happening again. I think Guyana has a lot of potential. It's rich in bauxite and rice farming and diamonds and oil now and gold. It could have been perhaps the pearl of the West Indies and the Caribbean in terms of economic wealth, except for that of his policies. It's almost like Erguero in Grenada, for example, or Papa Doc Duvalier and Baby Doc Duvalier in Haiti. This type of atrocity. So I am hoping that with the influence of the world, those with the economic might, that we could see some positive change in Guyana and get out of this mess that the Guyana's people have found themselves in because of the actions of politicians, and like Trinidad, politicians that are often supported blindly by people who don't see issues or people who don't see political ideology as much as they certainly.
Next week, we will look at the campaigning for general election of 2020, whether the issues are being articulated on the various platforms or not. Candidates are chosen and what have you. We have a lot to discuss next week, Mr. Maraj. Thank you very much for being
Thank you very much, Ken, and a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, always a pleasure talking to you. The voice there of Mr. Nirvan Maraj, the President General of the Old Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, as they continue to build capacity and partner with us here at 975. You can look forward to Mr. Maraj again next week, Friday, right here on this frequency, 975 FM, hot like pepper. We're climbing up to the hour of 9 o'clock. It's just hour of 9. Note that time check came to you through the kind courtesy of Mr. Rajendra Rampasad, who is the Couva South candidate for the People's National Movement. Stay with us. 975 FM, hot like pepper.
Only the people can save the people of the National Solidarity Assembly. Join its political leader and president of the All Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, Nirvan Maharaj, as he invites you to join these organizations and other top executives on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper for 2 once as they discuss the concerns and challenges facing the working class of this country, tackling the issues, generating bold talk, finding solutions, bringing the workers' agenda to the front burner, and providing a new VXA's mission. Be part of this informative panel discussion with operatives from the NSA. Only happening here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper.
Yes, indeed, and welcome back to 975, and thanks for staying with us here as we continue with our discussion. And joining me now in the studio is Nicole Duki. We just got about 15 minutes again for the program, so you can share your thought with us by calling us at 636-7547, 227-5739. Let's thank Mr. Nirvan Maraj for being in the studio with me this morning. Today, well, we have a number of callers here on the line. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Ken.
And good morning, Mr. Ailey. How are you?
Think carefully since this morning, and detecting in your voice are very concerned. You're very concerned what's transpiring right now. This committee thing with the form here, right? You know, with fellas like Shaba and all these fellas, is the same old with them fellas, you know? Them fellas, them eye is on the treasury. You understand? So what they want money. And we go see the return of the elders. Remember the elders that laugh at you? This is the way it's coming back to you. You know, these fellas don't have a clue to what's going on. But you know, they have the solution.
Plaster on sores, this will not help the situation, now would it? How do we move forward? How do we chart a way forward?
Well, the most important thing there is the people. And the people, I always maintain Lavandi are some very talented people, sportsmen, musicians, you name it. And when you see what our area represents, it's totally different to what the potential the place have. Now the people just tell you, boy, I had enough. Again, when the big day come, the election day, they go the same way. That plenty frontline Trinidadian went up, Macandal Daga went up there, the man get 200 votes. And everybody know Daga is a serious man. The committee, the Prime Minister nominated, he is the committee man. Anything is a committee, bring a committee. And we go, it is solving nothing. These people prepared to do anything possible. Now, what caused all the bacchanal? Just as kill 3 people, and the bacchanal starts from that. So, forming committee is you have to go back right where it started, and probably a Maria solution.
Yeah, but what is the solution?
Well, go right back where the problem started Saturday, and all the policemen involved, suspend them, send them out, they can't be doing C. By what we see with the footage is something different where we hear coming out. So we need a proper investigation. Lady chips fall where it fall. Me say no sheriff and no body and that old gun talk and I accustomed to that air carrying this thing know it to make sense. So start back right there Saturday morning and take action from there, and then we might, because the people react, which is as the Prime Minister, you have a right to protest.
All right, I hear you. Let's take another call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
I want to say everything the gentleman spoke about was very powerful, and I believe.
Which gentleman are you talking about?
Mr. Nirvan Maharaj.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Oh my God, you're on point, and maybe the Prime Minister is right. They're crazy, so he's got to do some mind changing, right? Because they're set in their mind, and it's a behavior pattern. Anyway, I want to say something. I feel like there is a disconnect between the communities. And I say that because, you know, when you, I feel like I'm living in, I feel like I am not connected to anybody in this community because it's so transient, it's so disconnected. I went into a Chinese supermarket and all the cash register was in Chinese in the language, and nobody was speaking English. And you know, it's like
this morning, and for all of the kudos, yes. We just try to keep you informed as to what is happening in the country and get the thoughts of you, the listening audience. This is the only frequency that gives you that ample time to share your thoughts and to share your views. Let's take another call on the line. Hello, good morning, and welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Mr. Fenwick.
Good morning, Mr. Belmont.
Good morning to the lady, Mr. Belmont. Calling to all the listeners and callers. Now, Mr. Maraj was right on the ball. He has a good of what is going on and what's causing this sort of thing. But he did not deal with the real issue about the shooting of the 3 people. Now, another thing, he make a little mistake in saying, dude started after 70. No. Dude started in the 50s. When Dr. Williams won, it wasn't independence yet. And, you know, the fellas came very close to him, and so on, up and down in the square. And they used to hustle him, you know. Doctor, we are not to give him $5 or $10. So when he went into Whitehall, they used to wait for him. That is the what they call the gimmick syndrome. They build houses in the city. If you go Laventille and John and see the kind of 10-story and 5, the ones on the outside, but you wouldn't see the ones in Pasty Street, where all these people live, and they was not given any chance in life to expand. They couldn't open a little garage, they couldn't open a little food depot, they couldn't plant a garden, nothing at all, and they were very much disadvantaged. And it grew like that all the time, and the dependency syndrome, and they start to get handout, and this is what Dr. Rowley have to deal with. But he cannot set up a committee to investigate what went on when he wasn't able to do the right thing at the right time, because he had a right to call on the commissioner of police, cabinet directive, to have these people suspended until it is investigated. And the PCA don't investigate these kind of matters. The PCA investigate when people have a quarrel with the police in the behavior. But this go beyond that. This needs the Homicide Bureau to investigate whether a murder took place and what's happening and take other things. But these picking them up on Cairns General Hospital, pick up all the shells and this and that. But you see, in a homicide, you just have to go to the forensic to know the trajectory of the bullets, the this and the that, and the timing. And these people who are taking advantage of, you can see it in the video, their hands up and so on. So Dr. Rowley had right to do the right thing and to order police investigation.
All right, Mr. Belmont, we hear you, and thank you very much. We have some other callers here on the line. Well, the Police Complaints Authority, according to David West, for more resources.
Yes.
And these resources or these calls would have been ignored by the government of the day. Let's take another call on the line. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
The whole world gone. Everybody forget God. That is the whole problem in this world right now. Right? And you'll see to get worse and worse until Los Angeles go under the sea. That pollute the whole earth. Thank you. Bye.
All right, friend. Well, thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Have it right.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's not know the history of this thing. When you come out of jail, you have something waiting for you. Right. That is where this whole thing starts and it continue on, and you have reward and punishment. If you get rewarded for an action, you repeat it. If you're punished, you desist. So we have created this kind of situation in this country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
And good morning to you, sir.
The whole thing about this is these people with kid gloves. We have a police service. We have an equipped police service. And they do not want to let the police do what they have to do, because it could quell them I mean, just let them have it. We cannot have a bunch of thugs trying to put fear into other people. And I think the police has the right thing. Kill them all, and then sort them out after. Thank you.
All right, friend. Well, you're talking about actions. Look. I will not advocate such that police go outside and shoot everybody who they feel are, creating confusion and mayhem in the society. We cannot be a lawless society. Let's take another caller. Hello. Good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Kanak again.
Good morning, friend.
Good morning.
How the views of that caller is not the views of the radio station.
No, I just said that.
Because after listening to that gentleman's union man,
Mr. Maraj,
the question that I asked you this morning is the same thing more or less Mr. Maraj said to you. I have to continue the social program because you know why? I'm going to have anything. So and let me explain you something. Mr. Manning had a program called the East Development Program. You know what Mr. Manning did? Bought out all the buildings around Port of Spain and going to move you out. Develop. All come a lady called Hazel Smith and Lennox Smith, a supporter of the UNC. I don't know about what Hazel Smith is today. Lennox Smith is a supporter of the UNC. And tell them don't move. Because if they move, they're going to bring in the 1%. And all they're going to lose all their spots and valuables. And today, they still live in the same condition that they live in. If they had taken the, and here what going on, I could remember years ago, Mr. Manning said, going to build some buildings across the Caroni Bridge. You know what the UNC said to them? You can't move them out from there and bring them across by we. You know that?
No, I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Well, the UNC at one time opposed the government of moving these people out from those communities and widen them out because you will tell them, if you move them out, the crime will come in my community and come here and come there. So the government decide, move them from one and put them in somewhere else, you tell me I vote a pardon. But it is we want. And then the same people turn around and tell me, look at Lee Kuan Yew and look where Singapore reached. But under Dr. Wright William, they tell me I was having a dictator. Wanted to turn me, he was a Lee Kuan Yew, wanted to turn me into Singapore. And the same people today praise Singapore. The same measure they say we was going mad. Well, enjoy, ladies.
Well, thank you very much.
Careful with what the caller is saying because I remember very clearly under the partnership government at the time, the persons from those areas were moved into other communities where there are HDC housing developments. So I'm not going to agree with what he says.
The thing about it, okay, you can only reach out so much to respond is another question altogether.
Yes.
Are these people prepared to empower themselves? Are they prepared to better their lives?
Yes.
Or are they comforted in the way that they are living?
Kenrick, and the thing is that you take them from these communities, you put them into these new areas, but you know what? They take their bad habits with them, and I could definitely attest to that because even where I live, I have that issue where people, from the time you hear, I call the name of the area, people will be like, oh gosh, that's a bad area, but really it's taken in. It's the people that came there that brought their bad habits.
So in essence, you remove the people, but the people bring that same level of culture with them.
Exactly.
And it contaminates the other, let's say, communities. Yes?
Yes.
Let's take this call on the line.
Yes.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to 975. Good morning.
Morning, Kendrick.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning, Ms. Dookie.
Good morning.
Go to the head of the class, Ms. Dookie. You see what happened in 500?
Yes.
There was a quiet plantation. People used to plant garden there.
Yeah, quite true.
And you see what happened there now? Then to crown it off, he come and he make houses put up and call it 1,000. So they carry their bad habit.
Everywhere.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you something, this Bataria fella telling you about cocaine caused that. If that was so, all of us in San Juan would be Piper. Because San Juan was the city where they have in St. James now. It was the city that don't sleep. The most of the drug lord in the 70s was in San Juan. But there's an excuse he using to blame other people. You remember when Kapil Dev when at the party, Ken? Right. You know when Eric William formed the Marabunta's gang?
Yeah, Chris reminded me of that.
Right. And I don't want to call the name of the captain or and they break into and when some come the Applejackers and they from 8 to 4. Them are doing that and plus they don't have no skill for a job. You can't employ them because they don't know to do anything. So when this fella come and talk about cocaine caused that, nobody have put a gun by the head. Why he is not a piper? And he say from the area? Why Eric and him is not pipers and the children? Why certain people is not pipers? Why Fitzgerald Hines and the children is not pipers and they from Lavantel? They want to live like that. The poverty, education.
I've always maintained that,
9
yes.
out of 10 of Indian people, they could call me a racist, like their business ticket outside there. 9 out of 10 Indian people make sure the children get education. They sacrifice for that.
All right.
Right, thank you.
Let's take another caller. Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
That man who voted President criminal transfer. Wait a minute. You that's true? He don't know that's true? When the police, any police station asks about when they move the farmer community to the communities and they didn't provide employment materials, what happens? The crime go up. What is we talking about? So everybody have blind next about
You know, think about it. You're creating communities. Yet, but are you creating opportunities within these communities for these very same people to empower themselves? Look, as I said before, you can create all the programs. You can have all of the social programs.
It's up to them.
But it's the choice of the individual to want to empower himself. Hello, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, my friend. How are you? Good morning.
Well, the problem is this. If we come to a wall that is in the way, and you will have to move the wall. I don't believe in going around the wall. I believe in removing the wall. And what in these areas? I cannot understand how somebody goes to form a committee. How much committee was formed? And how much thing was done? When the government put the funding into these things, the money disappear. Look at that community center. Where it went to. I still looking for that community center. Nothing happening. Do the thing the right way. Remove the culprits. Remove them. Thank you.
Okay, friend. Well, thank you very much for your contribution here with us. A very healthy discussion this morning, a very healthy program, but our callers are still coming through.
Yes.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to 97.5. Good morning.
Hey, Ken, morning.
Good morning, Brian Big. How are you good? So said, so done, boy. Well, yesterday when I spoke to you, you said that the Prime Kamala Persad and the opposition. Well, he would have done exactly that.
Well, you remember yesterday when you and I spoke that I did say that the first thing the Prime Minister will do is blame Kamala, right? You went back 14 years. 14 years in your seat? I mean, the government has already taken us 10 years in the committee who was on the media houses bashing the government. You know what they do? This is typical PNM style. Kendrick Jagannath bats up on TV. Alright, boy, I'm going to make it on a committee one song of the government after.
Silence you then.
So I'm not surprised that this committee was put together, just like the so-called committee that was put together for post-COVID, where these recommendations that they gave hasn't been implemented, hasn't been put into place. What is the outcomes of those recommendations? What are the successes out of those last night, where none has been shown? So you come now to put a plaster over a big wound, right? But where is the government really in all of this? Where are the member of parliament for these areas? Have they gone into the areas? Have they discussed it with the person? Did they talk to them and say, listen, what's wrong?
All right. Anyway, Nicole, we must bring the curtain down on today's edition of the morning program and say thanks to our callers for sharing their thoughts with us. Let's thank Mr. Maraj again for dropping by and being with us here this morning. You can join us again on
Karen,
where we do this all again.
Before we close, let's remind our listeners that the weekend is upon us and everybody would want to go to their favorite Lyman spots. Remember,
watering hole.
Remember, it's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. After that, you can get charged. So be mindful of that, right?
Yes. And to the motorists outside there, we know that the road carnage continues.
And we have some bad weather, so please exercise caution when rain is falling.
All right. I'm Kendrick Jagannath.
And I'm Nicole Dookie.
Good morning. Have a safe and blessed day. And stay with us here at 975 as we continue to keep you informed and end the Bees High Five. But before I go, I want to leave you with this selection.